everyone, it's Chris. In today's video, I'll discuss episode 3 of Spider-Man, the new animated series, titled Law of the Jungle. Let's swing into action. In this episode, Doc Connors injects himself with reptilian DNA, slowly transforming him into the angry, vengeful lizard. As the serum begins to affect his brain, Spider-Man must stop his professor as he begins to seek revenge on those who have harmed him, including Harry. Now, let's discuss the biggest positives of the episode. Rob Zombie's performance as the lizard is a standout. He brings a growling voice to the character, elevating the material and infusing it with his own spin on the role. I think his design for the lizard is really good. I think his performance as the lizard and even Doc Connors is really good. So I really do like Rob Zombie. I think that was a great choice to cast him as the lizard in Spider-Man, the new animated series. Next, let's look at the action sequences. While the episode features 3 in total, I'd like to highlight 2 in particular. The lizard cuts power to the NYPD precinct while Peter is being interrogated about the armored truck situation. The lizard sneaks in and grabs the thug, throwing him against an interrogation window, killing him. Peter witnesses the crime and suits up. Spider-Man chases the lizard through the precinct's air vents and onto the roof. The lizard catches him off guard and escapes. Spider-Man is shot at by the police and jumps off the roof and swings away. This sequence features horror elements, the monster lurking in the shadows before claiming its prey. Now, I do like the lizard during the precinct sequence because he's just lurking in the shadows. You know, the cops got their flashlights and they're looking around and they can hear things scruffling around up in the air vents, and it's like almost like a monster or like some killer just lurking in the shadows waiting to jump out. Spider-Man is, chasing them through the air vents. They're, slightly dimmed air vents, so they just have just enough light in there. And then when Peter gets to the roof, his spider senses go off just for like a quick second, and we get a solid jump scare where the lizard jumps out and grabs him. So I do like how this sequence features horror elements. I really do like that. And if you know me, I've talked about horror-themed things on the channel. Looking at you, the spider. Now, this is where Spider-Man gets his biggest clue of who the lizard is, because on the piece of the air vent that the lizard ripped through to get onto the roof, there was a piece of a lab coat. And who else would have a lab coat? Doc Connors. He was just experimenting with reptilian DNA. And then later in the episode, when Peter returns to Doc Connors' lab, and he's sitting in his chair and he's got his hood on and he doesn't want Peter to see him, when he looks at the paperwork he's been typing up, it's got like scales on it, like a lizard. I do like how they leave little breadcrumbs for Spider-Man or Peter Parker to figure out, like, Doc Connors is the lizard. Next comes the battle at Oscorp. Peter arrives at Doc Connors' lab and discovers that the lizard is set to attack Harry at Oscorp. Once he reaches Oscorp, Spider-Man confronts the lizard. Now, I do like the quick sequence where Harry is getting chased by the lizard, and the lizard's just jumping from this part of the wall to this part of the wall, this part of the wall, and he's lurking around the corner, and then Harry has a fire axe, and he cuts off his arm, and it just grows back, and you can see his claws. He lunges at Spider-Man, and both of them crash through a window. Behind them, the bright city lights shimmer as they plummet to their doom. This shot is quick, yet undeniably cool. I do like the sequence where you got the spotlight shining on both Spider-Man and the lizard, and the lizard's just grabbing Spider-Man by his neck and slowly trying to essentially push him into like a roof fan where it's just spinning, trying to chop him right up. So Spider-Man webs to the helicopter, and then the hand goes into like the blade or the fan, and it cuts his hand off, and then Spider-Man webs his tail and they start go flying up into the sky and they're all hanging. So the lizard slices at Spider-Man and the lizard plummets to his death. But I do like how they show us like the impact. Like, this is the lizard hitting the ground. And in his final moments, he sheds a tear before he dies. Like, that's sad. It's like, I know he was a villain and he was a vengeful and, angry lizard, but at least he was Peter's professor. Peter looked up to Doc Connors and he just watched him fall to his death. Law of the Jungle is an entertaining episode, filled with exciting action sequences and Spider-Man's delightful quips. Rob Zombie's unique take on the Lizard is authentic and a standout in this series. Doc Connor's loss of an arm due to an accident makes his actions feel more personal and relatable. With only 3 episodes in, this series already showcases a compelling storyline and strong character development. Law of the Jungle is one of the best episodes in this series. I'm Spider-ManChris, and I'll see you in the next one.